People who have straight-up rage quit a job. What was the final straw? Many years ago, while working in a manufacturing facility, my boss came into work already pissed off because his wife served him divorce papers. Saying, "Good morning," was apparently enough to set him off, and he picked up a wrench from the table and threw it at my head. I ducked, it missed, then I just closed my toolbox and wheeled it to the truck. Lol. I was flat out lied to about the position. It was a management position at a residential mental health facility, and I had taken it, leaving a great paying but stressful position because it wouldn't require travel and was supposed to be much more laid back. On top of many other issues, I ended up having to work 8 weeks straight without a single day off, even weekends and one holiday. So after a very heated meeting with upper management where one person was flat out lying to cover their own butt, I sent a resignation email from the parking lot. I never have, but my favorite example was when a coworker in student transportation, who had finally gotten a position she wanted after years of suffering through stress in another, was called by management over the summer and told she was being reassigned to the stressful position because no one else wanted to do it. She had fought too long and hard to get what she wanted, and her immediate response was, "Then tell me what I need to do to resign." She did, and she's been at peace with her decision ever since. Not me, but a colleague once wrote a long stinker of an email, hit send at 10:30 a.m. and exited the building immediately. He blind copied all receivers but sent it to multiple departments of a large multinational I was working at. No one knew who didn't get the email, except for the gasps and oh my gods around the office. He was completely disgruntled, and went in on multiple managers, supervisors and various colleagues with absolute venom. It was amazing, still the best work email I've ever received, and some shit he called out actually had to be addressed by management. It brought about a lot of positive change. If you're out there, Khalil, that was awesome. When I was driving home and my blood pressure shot through the roof cause somebody was driving the same make, model and color car as the boss. Obviously it wasn't the straw, just the recognition that there was to be no more straws. Had a sweet schedule working security in a Class A office building. 3 swings, 2 p.m. to 10 p.m., and 2 graves, 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., per week. My weekend was Friday and Saturday. The graves were actually really chill, easy to deal with. I liked them. But only 2 of them. Then we'd get a new security company. All the supervisors are fired and new ones from the new company are brought in. Suddenly I'm working 5 graves. I ask for a change to swing. No dice. They offer to move me to a different site. It's 5 graves again. I find out my old supervisor is now working as security manager at a local mall. I give him a call and he offers me a job. I took it. Grabbed my uniform from the old company. Drove to the office. Walked it. Dropped my uniform on the director's desk, turned and walked out. Went down to the mall and picked up my new uniform. At one office job, I quit after the first day because the lady training me would ignore me when our manager wasn't around, and I caught her snooping through my purse when I went to the bathroom. At another job at a clinic, I quit after a month because they made me do a solo receptionist shift without training me on what I needed to do to open the clinic, and then I got yelled at for not knowing what to do. In front of patients. It was so bad, some of the patients came up to me after and asked if I was okay. Godfather's Pizza. The manager wouldn't give me my paycheck at 8 p.m. on Sunday because the money might not be in the account yet, but I could pick it up at 9 a.m. Monday. This was decades ago, before direct and mobile deposits. The bank wouldn't be open until the next day anyway. All of the paychecks were literally in his hand at that moment. There were lots of issues before that, but that was the final sign that the manager was completely uninterested in reason. In the next few weeks nearly everyone else quit, then the manager was finally fired. Yusuu Naito. My boss cursed me because I took a phone message for him, because he was already on a call. Apparently he was eagerly awaiting the call I answered and would have preferred I interrupted him. I threw a pencil at the wall, said, "Do I look like a mind reader? Cut me my check." I quit. He tried hard to backpedal, but there had been many previous straws. Yusuu Naito. The boss told me I should be sleeping at his house because that's the level of dedication he needed from me. Bye. This was 20 years ago. My fiancée had been hospitalized for 16 months after a car accident. When she passed away, my boss would not let me have time off for bereavement because we were not legally married. One very busy night while waitressing, I was standing at a table of 12 in the middle of taking their order when another waitress came up to me and said our boss wanted us in their office that instant. So I leave my full section in the middle of chaos to go see what the problem is. My boss began to chew us both out because the other girl asked if I would switch shifts with her and I had agreed. I didn't say anything but was obviously annoyed because I had just left all my tables thinking there was some sort of emergency. My boss looked at me and asked why I looked mad and I told him, "I feel like this could have been sorted out without me. If you didn't want her to leave early, you could have just told her no instead of pulling me away from our customers." They said, "If you're going to have an attitude, get your shit and leave." I said okay and went to transfer my tables. I was over it. I had worked there 3 years and the owners were alcoholics that treated us like garbage and spent all the company on themselves instead of getting ingredients to make food or paying their employees. The other waitress came back out and said our boss wanted me back in the office. I went in and they said, "Put your apron back on, you're not fired." I said, "You're both fucking crazy if you think you can treat people the way you do and expect them to want to work for you," and I walked out. As I was leaving, they came out behind me saying I would regret it and was never allowed back if I left. I threw up my middle fingers and kept walking. Funny part is I let my boyfriend take my car to work that night, so I had to walk a mile home and break into my house face rolling on the floor laughing. Was promised that if I got my accounting degree they would move me to IA so I could get hours towards my CPA. Worked my ass off, graduated, and the boss said, "Yeah, we're going to move you to customer service." Sound good? Stayed late that night drafting a company-wide "fuck you" email. Probably shouldn't have done that in hindsight, but some bridges just beg to be burned. Was having a meeting with the boss who was a difficult guy to work with, and he stood up and punched the wall. He wasn't doing it jokingly. He bare-knuckled went at the wall of his own office like he was in the gym hitting a punching bag. I sat there in astonishment for about 2 seconds, then stood up and left. Cleared out my desk, exited through the back door without a word to anyone. There's no place for that conduct in the professional world, even if the guy does own the company. Was told I did not have experience to move up. Hired a person with 1/20th of my experience in that position. Had to drive to a site, directions were wrong, ended up having to walk a mile in North Texas in July with 35 pounds of materials. EDA, this is pre-cell phone, mine? I was tired of doing a 3-person job. My boss following me around, calling me at home during meetings when I was sick, talking to me outside the bathroom door was making me crazy. I came back from vacation one day to find piles and piles of work that other people could have done. I quit, packed my shit and left. Reversed hand with middle finger extended. He gave me literally 72 hours worth of work and insisted it be completed in 36 hours. When I pointed the inconsistency out, he said, "Do what you can." And when I submitted it, he called me, from vacation, to scream at me about mistakes. I deleted everything, walked away, blocked him on everything. EDA, I mean 72 business hours and 36 calendar hours.